Welcome to Branding Your Business with Serifix, where we talk about branding with many talented and experienced designers and entrepreneurs. Let's learn together how we can improve our business through branding. Your host, the Serifix team, will be taking you on this journey. Let's build a community together. Hey guys, welcome to today's podcast episode. Today's podcast is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to be having conversations about the brand identity clash between Cowry and Cowrywise. And to have this conversation and, educate you guys, we have our guest with us, Emmanuel Akpan. Emmanuel Akpan is a brand designer at Benjamin Dada Tech blog. He also works on personal and paid branding projects. So basically, he's a brand designer. I was so happy to have you here. I also have my co-host with me, Joseph Enang. Joseph Enang is creative director at Serifix, and three of us are going to be having this conversation and breaking things down, right? So let's get into it. Let's first of all know these companies and get to know what they do and try to understand the idea around each business. So Joseph, can you help us with Cowry? What is Cowry and who are they exactly?
Hey everyone, my name is Enan Joseph. My boss Shiva has introduced me a bit. So Cowry is actually an e-payment system. I'm sure we've probably heard a lot of those e-payment systems here and there, but this is specifically targeted at transportation system, and it's mainly operational in Lagos State. So the Lagos State government in 2020 introduced the Cowry card. If you look it up, the Cowry card, you'll see, if you haven't heard of it or seen it before, it's a cashless payments initiative that's used for all means of transportation in the states. There's an organization or a body that handles all regulated transport in Lagos. It's called Lamata, and they were the first ones to implement it on all BRT buses in the states. And they also are looking to or encouraging expansion towards other transport services like water and rail in 2022. So that's really all about Cowry. They are a platform that seeks to reduce cash transactions in transportation operations and in turn protect stakeholders' investments in the transport sector.
Nice. I actually use the old Cowry thing very often in Lagos because I stay in Lagos, and I use it a lot, a whole lot. Anytime I want to go out, I always first of all check if there are going to be buses, BRT buses along my route, because I always prefer that to the downfall buses that we have. It's actually a very good technological inclined innovation thingy. Yeah. So, but then comparing it to Cowrywise is an investment platform, the savings and investment platform that we use mainly here in Nigeria to save and invest in Naira and in dollars. And then they have this co-savings and co-investment thing, so you can also save with your spouse and stuff like that. Mainly savings and investment, the typical fintech in Nigeria. But these two companies have very, very similar brand identities, to the point that Cowry had to make an announcement on their Instagram that Cowry is not Cowrywise. And then anytime Cowry had issues, they'll be tagging Cowrywise on Instagram, on Twitter rather, and people were always confused that are they not the same? And then at a point Cowrywise was we're not Cowry, and all those stuff was just going on. Though it has died down a bit, but the fact that it happened means that there was definitely a problem with the brand identity for, I feel it to be Cowry now, because Cowrywise existed before Cowry. So, Akpan, what would you say are the things that you feel were the problems or caused the problem with the brand identity clash and everything? What elements in their brand do you think were the issue?
All right, thank you guys so much for the intro, and I'm happy to be here again. So, majorly, like you guys already explained, Cowrywise is majorly in, let's say, the fintech saving space in Nigeria, while Cowry is still within the payment space, but is majorly focused on transportation. So I think the first clash is with the name. So, because Cowrywise started in, if I'm not wrong, that should be 2017, and they've kind of
Mm.
established a solid brand in Lagos and Nigeria as a whole. So, given
Yeah.
Cowry now picking the name itself, Cowry, and using very similar colors, like if you check the hues, they're actually very similar, the shades of blue. That's going to definitely cause a problem. So, even though they are in different industries, using the same or the same part of a name, that's Cowry and Cowrywise, that's definitely going to cause a problem. And I mean, it's not surprised that users interchange Cowry and Cowrywise. So from my own end, I
Yeah.
think the first problem is from the brand naming. Cowry, in my own recommendation, should probably have gone with a different name, but that's just the first problem I really saw.
For instance, now like the illustration style, yeah, that's probably something else. Because while I was going through um Cowry's page on Twitter, and I it felt like I was on Cowry, not 100%, but like to a good extent, it felt like I was on Cowrywise's page, right? Because they had like a very similar illustration style. Of course, once again, not like 100%, because I mean it's not the same illustrator on board, right?
Mm.
So that just adds to the whole conflict. I mean, if someone originally, okay, let's start with the name, like Akman mentioned, you stumble upon Cowry, set in a similar type, the same color, and let's say you forget to question that the brand icon isn't there, or the company like logo, the icon, the logo mark isn't there, and then you assume it to be Cowrywise, and then you go through their page. I mean, if you're a new, like if you literally just stumbled upon them, you would likely have them conflicted, right? That's a possibility because of like the similarities, like you mentioned, from the logo and name, and then like I mentioned, the illustration. So there's probably some more things that I guess you would want to point out, Shiva.
Okay. That's actually a good point. The illustrations, the I feel like the reason why everything is clashing is because they are both in tech. So like Cowry is um travel tech, while Cowrywise is fintech. So like um what
True.
to me um what makes it clash, like, or what like brings the clash all together is the fact that they are both tech. Because like there's a way tech companies look and feel. Yeah, it makes it more prominent. Let's say it wasn't really that tech, it was more like all these travel agencies, like it would be more of like pictures of people traveling, more lifestyle pictures and stuff like that on their page. But because it's actually tech, it's tending towards the tech side, and Cowrywise too is also tech. So I feel like that's like my own opinion. So the illustrations, like you mentioned, they would definitely be techy, and because they have the same color and the same and similar name, everything now just looks the same. Do you get? So I feel like that's what brings everything together. Your fashion, like your
Yeah,
issue.
and in addition to
Um.
that, like,
Okay.
sorry if you don't mind me. In addition to that, like when you mentioned, like they're also in the tech space and all that, they are also addressing financial issues as well. Like
Mm.
if you read through like the information that the internet has on them, right, or even on their page, they are solving finance related issues particular to the transportation industry. So that's like the transportation industry is their niche, but the
Mm.
I would likely say the fintech space is like where they revolve around in a way.
Yeah. No, like the fact that you make payments, like you load your card and then you
Yeah,
use
their
your card to
focus
make
is more
payments. The
on the
financial.
payments, like being a payment platform. So in as much
Mm.
as it's specific to the transportation industry, their core offering is on It's on making it's on reducing cash-based transfers, which of course, if you're in Lagos, you know how those things can go. You have issues with change, you have issues with people duping you, even the people who are, even the bus drivers and conductors are very prone to theft. Someone could rob them. You get that. Have been in situations where life fights will be happening. Someone will stop your ride and go outside and be fighting. Like those sort of things. They are trying to, and that's why I even saw recently, like they're also trying to get into downfalls as well. They're also trying to push for Cowry card to be used for downfall like transportations and stuff like that. So because their focus is on like finance as well, it's easier to peg them close to Cowrywise. Sure, you get
Yeah.
that's another thing.
Akwan, would you like to say something?
Yes, yes, sure. I mean, just to, I think we've already outlined a couple of points. At the end of the day, um, I would just say whenever if branding comes to play, proper market research needs to be done, right? Because like I think Cowrywise was well established in the Nigerian tech space. I mean, with their colors, with their, and at that time, fintechs were really popping up, right? Piggyvest, Cowrywise, and so many others which we have now, right? So, yeah, sure, they're in the same tech space, they're in the same space of tech, right? But I feel Cowry, I don't want to destroy what their marketers and designers have done, but I feel they could have done better, right? But not just to put the whole blame on Cowry. Um, Even Cowrywise themselves, they clearly stated that, oh, we have nothing to do with this brand, and they've already done well in differentiating themselves, right? So at the end of the day, it just comes to differentiating yourself as good as possible. I mean, just to cite, Piggyvest and Cowrywise are in the same space, like not just tech, they're in fintech, but you can't interchange one for the other, right? So I feel like irrespective of the colors you're using, irrespective of the words you're saying, that's like that USP or unique selling point needs to be really strong as a marketer. So yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. You have a strong point. I think with that we're already entering into some solutions, like how can when two businesses find themselves in this situation, how can they combat the problem? But let's talk about like preventing the problem. So like in this case now you're like in why let's say I'm the new entrepreneur. So like how do I combat this or prevent this from happening? Do you get um Akwan?
Okay, so preventing this from happening. So I mean, it starts from the very first meeting, from the idea point, right? Entrepreneurs have lots of ideas. Oh, they want to build the next unicorn, XYZ, right? But you need to look at, oh, what is out there? What companies, who are my competitors? What are they doing? What colors are they using? What words are they telling their audience, which is potentially my own audience, right? So the marketers, the designers, the entrepreneur, him or herself, needs to not rush the process, because at this idea stage it's kind of fun. Oh, I'm going to build the next Facebook or the next Shopify or the next big company, but your research needs to be detailed. So going on the internet, searching for similar brands with your name, searching for brands in your space, and not just avoiding what they've done, but trying to stand out. Even if you're using a similar color or a similar name, but you need to make sure you are bringing out that thing that separates you from them. So market research needs not to be rushed. I would recommend, depending on the size of your company, let's say like you can just take out a week to focus on market research. So yeah, that's what I that's my take on the solution.
That makes sense actually. Like, and it's something that I usually say a lot, because people just want to start business and like it's just themselves they're thinking about. They don't even think about their own audience, like their own target market, talk less of thinking about how their own business would fit into the industry, and like, research on their competitors and all of that. Like, we need to, as entrepreneurs, we need to actually start thinking about that before we even say, okay, this idea it makes sense, or this is how we're going to execute the idea that we have and stuff like that. That's actually a very strong point. um Another thing I would like to say though is, we should, as entrepreneurs, we should not see branding as a random thing, like just one of those things, because branding is actually a perception that people have of your business. It's not necessarily a logo and all that. If you think of it as a perception, I feel like it should be something that should scare you as a business owner, that so you're telling me that people actually think of my business in a certain way. So if I'm thinking that way, I'm like, okay, that means I can actually shape what people will think of my business. I definitely do not want people to mistake my business for another person's business. So like, I feel like
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that angle, we can take branding more seriously because it's extremely important. Yeah. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, so just to interject, Shiba. So if you don't mind, I wanted to add that entrepreneurs need to be more involved in the branding process itself. So, from my experience of working with numerous clients, clients would just love to say, "Hey, create something nice," and after like 2 weeks turnover period, give them a brand. I don't feel that's good enough. I think marketers, entrepreneurs need to be part of the branding and designing process. So I try to do this by sending them, by having calls with them, asking questions. Oh, who's your target audience? What do they like? What do they do on a day to day? What's their unique selling point? So you as the entrepreneur, you get more focus, because I mean you're answering questions like, what's my unique selling point? What's my target audience? So many entrepreneurs don't know this. So that way you can now, like, not just create a generic brand, but something that stands out, because you're creating it for a particular person, a particular group of people. So I just feel entrepreneurs should, in quotes, not be lazy. Yes, they're very hardworking, but not be lazy and only focus on the business and how to increase revenue. But the face of your brand, the perception of your brand, you need to be a part of it. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Shouldn't be negligent to the branding process.
That that makes
Exactly,
sense.
they shouldn't be
Actually,
negligent.
yeah. That actually reminds me of a lot of experiences that I've had as well with like branding, with like under Serifix. Like, I feel like if business owners pick the right designers, they really would not, like, even if they don't know that they're supposed to be involved, they would automatically be involved, because the designer themselves would involve the business owner. So like, if I get a client now, I'm like, okay, we're going to involve you in the process of the design. I know that, okay, as a brand designer, I'm going to be sending like maybe reports on a weekly basis, or presentation slides to like explain what I've done and stuff like that. So I feel like choosing the right designers is also important, because people, I'll be honest, business owners, entrepreneurs always think about money. So they are looking for designers that are cheaper and more affordable, not necessarily looking at designers that actually know what they are doing. So because of that, they end up getting people that just do the logo in 3 days. They're like, how fast can you do it? All that stuff. And they're like, really, okay, we've done it. And then maybe it's even the entrepreneur that will pick the colors by themselves and like, okay, this is what we use for our page. And then later, they now find somebody somewhere to do their website, and everything is just jammed and just scattered, and you get. So I feel like entrepreneurs should actually also have a good eye, to be able to spot good brand designers. And then also, not looking for graphic designers, because if someone says they're a graphic designer, they are not necessarily doing branding, because branding is different from graphics. Branding goes deeper into the business side of design. Unlike graphics is just graphics. You get, so like that's another thing. Um, there's also another brand that is named Cowry. Enang, tell us, because I feel these people were like able to, I think, prevent, because Cowry is a popular word. Let's be honest, that's the first currency we had in Nigeria, so it's very very popular for a lot of Nigerian businesses. So like, share with us.
While I was doing my research, I came across this company, Cowry Exchange. So they basically enable cross-border payments for Nigeria using blockchain, right? It converts your currency to a digital token. Let's say you want to convert your naira to euros, or you want to make a payment in euros, right? You make a transfer to the specific bank that they run on, and then your naira will be converted to like naira tokens, and then those will be converted on their platform to euro tokens, and then converted back to euros for whoever the other end user is. So that's basically what they do now. That's also a finance related service, but their positioning in terms of brand identity is really really different. And I mean, that's just an example of how someone was able to take preventive measures against having a clash with existing. And I'm not quite sure if they have been in existence before Cowrywise, probably, but whichever is the case, you could say that their branding helps them stand out distinctively, right? And even like the Cowry, spelling of the Cowry is different. It's spelled with an IE instead of a Y. So, I mean, little nudges like that. I can't say for sure because my research is not extensive on that. But I mean, off the surface, right off the bat, I mean, it's clear which is which. There's no clash
Yeah.
whatsoever. So you can, since it's a podcast, whoever is listening will probably have to just look up Cowry, Cowrie, Cowry Exchange, and you see what I'm talking about, like their website and everything.
Yeah.
So that's just another example.
Yeah. So do we have any extra chippings you want to have? Want to summarize before I summarize everything that we've touched on today?
Okay, yeah. So for extra, I think branding is a big deal. It involves a lot of stakeholders. You have marketers, designers, team leads, entrepreneurs. So all hands need to be on deck to make sure that we are not creating something that already exists. We are trying to create something that is unique. So I think majorly, I think people in the industry, maybe the marketing industry, or feel that branding is just majorly a designer thing, which in a way it is, because it's designer that is going to execute, but everyone's input is needed to avoid creating something that exists. So yeah, I think and not to say I Cowry just in quotes dubbed everything that Cowrywise did. I'm sure they probably did their own research, but there is nothing like too much research, right? So I think we can always go further to make sure we are creating something that doesn't exist already. So yeah.
Yeah, it was not difficult to find this stuff. So I'm surprised at how like how much I was able to find, like in terms of research, like all these Cowry brands. I'm surprised, honestly, and I didn't even reason that it would come in handy. Starting from the explanation on Cowry to the Cowry exchange, like the Cowry Wikipedia story, and then the Cowry exchange. I didn't think it would come in handy, but I'm glad it did. Cowry exchange seems like something I would even want to use down the line.
These active shapers they're actually foolish. Like I just had logo idea now. Said they could have built Africa out of like geometric shapes and at least done something like
A and S are B.
yeah, like as in they could have done something. No, like they could have used like the actual African map, but instead of it being like
Okay. Instead of being
broke,
curved,
You
it's
use
straight
geometric
lines,
shape,
geometric,
shaping.
yeah,
and broken
Yeah.
in
use
parts.
shapes. Yes, like guy, this guy's as in
This one,
they now did it poorly.
they act on criminalism, a big
In fact,
criminalism. This
see,
one is bad.
I'm going to Twitter,
I
but
can
I made
literally
it.
this guy he actually mentioned that it looks as if someone mentioned that it looks as if they just one designer just went to search for African brand logos and then just copied something from Pinterest and then
Yeah.
tweaked it small. And
It's like people used to forget that when they are designing logos for people and they go and do research on Google, Google is actually bringing out logos of existing businesses. Like it's not just play. So the fact that you see logo somewhere does not mean
regardless of that,
it's
the purpose of your research is for
inspiration, not even to copy. Do you get?
You're not doing final year projects that you copy and paste. You're not doing final year projects that is only plagiarism checker that you have to answer to. This one you have a lot to answer to. If someone not even change it, and one of the guys in the substitute even mentioned that it happened to him as well. One of the clients that he had worked on a brand for saw that someone else had made a design that was similar to theirs, and it wasn't even low key when they launched the brand, so they actually had to hire a lawyer to take it up. Like I didn't even realize these things are so deep, and I actually had I had a thought because I watched this Sagi Haviv video. I watched a video where Sagi Haviv was talking. I think it's third video. I don't know. One day I was low on. Okay, last week, not even one day. I ran out of data, so I was just looking through my downloaded YouTube videos, and I saw that I downloaded his TEDx video, and I was watching through it, and he mentioned how when they were designing for conservation center.
I think is it blue and
Preservation.
green logo?
Yeah, blue circle and green line.
Green, yeah.
Conservation center, something like that. That when they came up with the mark, they sent it to lawyers to look through, like every single existing brand they could find. And I just asked myself, like, do we have that kind of reliable log of brand identities in Nigeria? Do we have something like that?
So.
And even aside from Nigeria. But imagine if we can actually establish a system where you have a log of all, like you have a log and a system where anyone who works on a design can register those logos, can like I think there should even be an existing system already for trademarking logos and stuff like that. Do you get?
Yeah.
But probably it's so cumbersome and stressful that people don't actually even know about it.
Yes.
Even this guy, Chisa, when someone was yarning him that for sue these guys, he was like, as I did not study law, they told brand designers to study law, they refuse. And this is why you should go and marry a lawyer. All brand designers should marry lawyers.
Like,
you
I
guys
don't even know. So
I'm
I mean, the whole Kardashian family, their business was sued and literally taken out of my. Like they had to shut down the whole thing.
Like law is not a respecter of person. Who be Kardashian?
No, like I'm saying that like is that important?
Is that
important?
Yeah.
Nigerians, us Nigeria, business owners in Nigeria need to wake up. Their own is just scams.
Oh, sorry.
I just sent you more than anybody here.
Guys, please, no. I just sent a post. Look at the logo on top of that post.
It's not the same shape as people.
It's the same people now. That's what I'm saying.
So what is it? Okay, they've changed their logo.
No, that was the former one before they now dubbed this one.
Oh my, this one is even better. This one is even way better. Maybe except for that orange gradient, boy, it's better.
Just look at this. That post I sent you was their last tweet 2 years ago, October 1st, 2020. Now, in fact, they've pulled out the logo and whatever cover image they had. If you check their Twitter now, it's just white. So people are now, like someone said, they actually apologized though. Hello, Jobs and
Yeah,
Mhm.
they
Trisha from
apologized
everyone.
immediately. Actually, that's why guys were not. That's why guys were not staring at them now.
Mm.
They apologized
Mm.
immediately. If not, it wouldn't have been funny. Oh.
This Jobs and saga, I don't like. This is like extra blue, sha.
You can't
Loki.
even give them okay. That was nice. That was fast. But part of me feels like the reason why they were fast. The reason why they were quick. The reason why they were quick to apologize. Part of me tells me that it's because they knew what they were doing, so they
There's
didn't
even
want to get
Oh,
another
dragged
one
too
there,
much.
you guys.
You get.
Coinbase and cheaper.
yeah,
Are you
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
even
saw that
yeah.
one
Coinbase
too.
and cheaper. Yeah,
what's
Coinbase
wrong
and
with
cheaper.
Nigerians? What's wrong with us
No,
exactly? Like,
See,
no,
Shele.
you know
but
that when I was reading about like the initiative behind the whole what's it called? While I was reading about the initiative behind starting up Cowry, it made so much perfect sense. There was even a person, a lecturer in CU that they actually interviewed, right? Because I think
uh,
he's into transportation services, like the finance behind
oh,
transportation services and all that. And like he was like, let me use the term techifying transportation is actually a global move. Do you get? Because
mm,
I recall people giving, like, I won't call it testimonies, but sharing their experiences in places like Japan and the transport system. Like, it's so
Mhm.
seamless and stressless and calm and
Mhm.
chill. And you literally look
mm,
forward to taking a ride the same way you look forward to going
Yeah.
to an amusement park. Do you get?
Yeah.
okay.
It's that good. And legit, that might have been the genuine agenda for setting things, something like this up. But
Yeah.
Nigerians are Nigeria's problem.
Yeah. So, summary of everything that we've learned today. We learned obviously what Cowry is. We learned what Cowrywise is, like who they are, what they do, and then we also touched on issues as to why, reasons as to why the both brands clash in identity, and we mentioned the name. Obviously, the name is very similar. We mentioned color choices. We mentioned the fact that they are both in the tech industry, and like there's a certain way tech looks in, I'll say, in Nigeria, I think globally too, yeah. And then we also mentioned illustrations. The illustrations are actually quite similar. And then we also touched on solutions that um one can one can take if they are already in such a situation. So which is um making announcements and trying to like communicate to people that they are not the same, we're not the same company. And I feel another thing that one can do would be a rebrand. Like the one of them can decide to rebrand to make things easier, in the long run. Also, we also talk about solutions to prevent, brand identities from clashing, which is working with a good designer, doing extensive research. All the parties should be involved in the brand identity creation. So I hope this podcast was insightful for everyone. I hope we learned something, and I hope we'll actually take what we learned seriously, like apply it to our business, because it's a serious matter. People actually get sued because of this thing. I mean, like there was a Kardashian brand that got sued because their name was similar to another brand's name. It was I think a lipstick line or something like that. The name was Chroma, Kroma, and the original brand was Kroma. They got sued and they're not in business. They all Kim Kardashian people are big Kardashian people, whatever they call themselves. You get, so like it's actually a very important thing. Like it's a serious matter. If Cowrywise today decides that they want to sue, it's gonna be a whole mess. So okay, so it's something that like we should actually take seriously as business owners. Take branding seriously. Yeah. So I want you guys to, like, on your own, search up Cowry, search up Cowrywise, search up Cowry Exchange. You can check the description of the podcast for links. We'll put links to their Instagram pages, websites, so you can like go through them and see and observe for yourself and see what we have been talking about, because it's not just about hearing, it's not hearsay. See it for yourself. Do you understand? Also, we're not bashing anybody here. Both companies are actually doing very, very great things. Like I said, I use Cowry a lot. I love it so much. I take the card everywhere with me. anywhere I see the bus, I want to know where they are going so that I don't take downfall because I don't want to enter downfall. So like that's how good the brand is. Like it's not a bad thing, like it's not a bad brand or anything like that. So yeah, so that's everything from me. Do we want to say goodbyes to the audience?
All right, goodbye, guys. Had such a great time. I gained a lot myself, and I'm always happy to be on the podcast with my see you guys. So
You
Yeah,
just had
that's
to
the
drop
fun
that one.
fact. Wow, from Covenant University. Fun fact. Yeah,
See
Covenant
free
yeah,
adverts.
Technical Unit, Olive Media. Yeah,
Wow, extra adverts. That
yeah,
one is valid. That one is permitted.
yeah, yeah. That's actually where we mostly got our design experience from, if I'm correct. Well, for me, Sha, yes, yes. So it's been a very long journey. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Akwan, for joining us today, and also Enang, Joseph Enang, for I keep calling him Akwan. Emmanuel. Akwan is the surname, you guys, please. Emmanuel Akwan.
Yes, we like just don't worry. It's literally showing there, but it's fine.
Yeah. So his name is Emmanuel. Thanks my co-host Enang Joseph, my guy. He actually does a lot in Serifix. Like, thank you guys for joining today's episode. I'm really grateful, and I'm happy that we have this here on ground for our dear audience. Yeah. So definitely check the description for all informations as regards this video, and we'll see you guys in our next podcast. Bye.